Welcome everyone to another episode of Regen Med. I'm Dr. Abraham,
And I'm Lindsay.
and we are here to talk to you about regenerative medicine and all the newest and latest technologies in that field.
Yes, and today's episode is probably going to be my favorite one because it's my favorite treatment that there is in the regenerative medicine facial rejuvenation category.
Yeah, and I think we ended our last episode talking a little bit about Easy Gel and Biofiller, and I know you want to talk a little bit more about that, so we can definitely dive a little bit deeper into it. But we are, I guess, talking more about the aesthetics and facial rejuvenation in today's episode.
Yeah, so I guess what I see people are more steering away from are utilizing fillers to, inject in like under eye areas, and um, they're more concerned about the product and what are we using, what's in it, and then for those people, something like Easy Gel would be a great option.
Yeah, so I can explain a little bit about what Easy Gel is for our viewers who aren't too familiar with that treatment, but it isn't. It's for facial rejuvenation, and it's in a way a natural way to help rejuvenate the face, and we can use it in many areas, but specifically the under eyes, as you mentioned, is one of my favorite treatment areas. To use Easy Gel, it's something that we have male clients and female clients do because again, it's just going to help improve collagen and the texture of the skin. It is a biostimulant, so it's kind of uses the concept of PRP but takes it a little bit further, and we can dive a little bit deeper into that. But it's in many ways similar to PRP, but it is a little bit different than PRP as well. And yeah, it's a very popular treatment. It's been around for a few years, and lately it's kind of like many other treatments where when it first comes in the market, it does take some time to for people to start. Like they start seeing it being used. Some of the other providers get more comfortable using it, but then again, like people are like, someone gets it, and then people start asking them, well, you look different, you look refreshed, what have you done? So this whole process takes some time, but usually within a few years, if it's a good treatment, we start to see kind of its demand increase, and that's kind of what we're seeing with Easy Gel right now. So
For sure. I feel like a lot of people are now asking for it by name, which is huge because a lot of people get confused. They'll say PRP, but then they don't mean PRP. They mean Easy Gel. And then, I kind of go into explaining to them what the difference is. So what is the difference between PRP and something like Easy Gel?
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember if we've talked a little bit
I think you
before
did a
about
little
the
bit.
PRF and PRP and stuff. But so there's a platelet-rich plasma, there's the platelet-rich fibrin, and then there's more of like the biogel filler kind of thing, and there's different names for it. Easy Gel is specifically the name of one of the companies that's very well known for its use, but sometimes we call it biogel, bio because it's like biological, and then gel because it does have a gel consistency, or a biogel filler, as I've heard it referred to sometimes. But the idea is we are again, PRP is great, but the one thing with PRP is it's a liquid when we get it right. It's plasma, which is great for certain indications, and Easy Gel does not replace PRP by any means when it comes to certain indications. But there is an advantage. There are times where we're doing PRP, like if we are doing the under eye area, for example, uh, by making it into a gel, it tends to stay and hold into that area a little bit longer and kind of give a bit of a filler effect, if you will. And that's kind of like what Easy Gel or a biofiller tends to do. So basically what it does is it combines basically PRP. Well, in the Easy Gel specifically, we're talking about combining PRF, which is kind of just a more firm or fibrin rich form of PRP, with a heated plasma gel. So in other words, when the process starts very similar to the client, whether we're doing PRP or PRF or Easy Gel, because we start by getting the client's blood but then the way we process it is a little bit different. So with Easy Gel, we kind of separate the blood into two parts. One part we use to extract PRF or PRP from it, and the other part is the one that we actually use to get that heated gel, and then we combine the PRF with the gel. And the reason we do a heated gel is because changing the temperature of these proteins is one of the, like, in a way, the most natural way to help modify and cause certain links to activate in the protein. So in other words, sometimes you can take the blood or proteins and add certain things to it to activate certain proteins, right? So like, for example, to activate the fibrin or make it more into gel substance. Sometimes we add calcium, for example. But with the Easy Gel, the idea is kind of keeping it as natural as possible. So instead of adding any additional stuff to the blood, it just, the way it's spun and the way it's heated to a specific certain temperature is enough to cause the protein, and specifically the albumin protein. The albumin is the protein that's most abundant in the plasma, in the blood. So we've talked before about how your blood has the red blood cells, it has the white blood cells, and then it has the platelets, which are considered kind of like the cells. But then you have tons of other proteins that are found in the blood, and the most abundant of these proteins is gonna be albumin. And at a certain temperature, so it's part of it is also finding the exact temperature, the perfect temperature to heat the albumin to where it's enough to not heat it too much and then cause it to kind of break down too much and denature too much. But also, if you don't heat it enough, then it doesn't it doesn't fold or it doesn't unfold. So the protein has like a certain structure, the way it's folded, and by heating it, you're causing it to like change that structure, like to unfold, and like it activates certain chemical reactions, if you will. But if you don't do it, then it's not gonna you're not gonna cause it to unfold enough, or it's still reversible to where it unfolds a little bit at a certain temperature, but then it kind of folds back in. So basically, the whole idea behind everything I've
what
said
does it
so
do?
far.
Why do we want it to be creating that thickness? Outside of it creating a filler aspect, what else does that thicker consistency, I guess, provide?
Yeah, and I felt myself starting to babble on too long, so always feel free to stop me when I start to get. But yeah, I guess in summary, just we heat it to a certain temperature to where it kind of activates, or not activates, but it causes the protein to react in a certain way, and causes certain linkage that it makes it more, as you mentioned, gel-like. So now when you inject it in the under eyes, you can imagine if you're injecting just if you think about water versus honey, for example, right? Honey's thicker, is going to stay in its place, much longer. It's a similar concept, but taken a step further, right? If you're injecting a liquid, it's going to spread out more, which sometimes we want. But if you want the product to stay in one area, then obviously injecting it in a gel, which is not going to move and spread out as much, is going to help keep it in that area. So that's part of the reason you get kind of that immediate filler like effect, because you did make it into a gel, almost it's not the same consistency as a filler, but it's almost like a soft filler, which is why I love it in the under eyes, because if we are injecting a filler in the under eyes anyways, we want to choose something that's really soft, because the skin there is very thin. It's a small area where we have small space that we're working with. So injecting a firm or a high G prime filler, a filler that's very dense, like we would, for example, in the cheeks or a different area. If we inject a firm filler in the under eyes, it can be lumpy and bumpy, and it can cause all sorts of problems that we don't want to get into right now. So you want something really soft, which is why the Easy Gel, which is like a very soft filler in a way, in terms of its consistency initially, is great for the under eyes.
So would you say for example, any person that comes in and they're interested in rejuvenating their under eye area, would you say that PRF or Easy Gel would like supersede PRP and be a better, like more effective type of treatment?
I use it more often in that area than PRP. There are still, they are slightly different, and I still go. I hate to say, these treatment that, for everyone it's going to be that way, right? Because everyone's different, and maybe there are still times where we would reach out for PRP as opposed to or PRF as opposed to Easy Gel. There might be some advantages, but yes, I would say that for the most part, most of the people who come in, we have done. I usually reach out for Easy Gel if we're specifically going in the under eye area, and I think we can maybe even. For those who are watching us on YouTube, we can show some photos of like before and after. It's just like a lot of things. Oh yeah, here we go. That's you on the screen, and that's you before and you after. Yeah. So yeah, for those of us who are watching on YouTube, you can see, and we kind of did treat the under eye area on Lindsay here, and you can see in the after picture that hollowness is much. It looks a lot more rejuvenated, and because I was talking about the soft gel-like aspect of Easy Gel, but at the same time the PRF or PRP aspect of it is great for the under eyes, right? To help rejuvenate the area, so you're kind of getting both. This is another client that we have behind me here, and again, if you're maybe listening to the podcast, you won't be able to see it, but trust us, the after picture looks better.
It looks great.
Take my word for it. But yeah, if you are watching on YouTube, again, just a picture of another client, you can see in the under eyes. And the under eye can be a tricky area to work with, right? Because it's like we'll say like the dark circles or the under eye hollowness or troughs. But at the end, the skin is the area is very sensitive because the skin is again very thin, and any kind of like swelling or inflammation or anything, it shows up like right away in the under eyes.
Oh, because of darkening. The hyaluronic acid with fillers?
No, I just mean in general, like with the under eyes on anybody, whether they've had treatment or not, it's one of the first areas where we see like signs of aging in the face to start with.
So she actually had like eye bags.
Yeah, and I think this is just by tightening the skin and improving the skin texture, it can improve the under eye area. And so again, it's not just the filler aspect of it, but it's also the rejuvenation, rejuvenating aspect of it.
I think for me, the biggest difference that I saw was
and this is another one. Again, if you look at the under eyes area, you can just see the skin just seems a lot just a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah, especially with women in the under eye area, we tend to have a lot of fine lines, and it gets really thin, along with the hollowness, and that's probably contributing to that. But I definitely noticed that after the treatment, the under eye area was a lot more like refreshed looking, and the skin wasn't so like paper thin. I felt like mine was like so thin, and now I just feel like it's more plump and it has more youthfulness to it. And I didn't realize how much loss of volume I had in my under eye area was until I saw after the Easy Gel, and I was like, this is how I looked when I was in my 20s. Like it literally, I actually saw like, wow, I didn't realize how much of a difference it was until I saw what I used to have.
It's one of these areas where sometimes like you don't notice it, but then once you see it, you can't see it, right? Like people will walk in and
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, and then they'll see it, or somebody points it out, and then all they see is that. It's like, oh my God, my under eyes are so hollow.
Yeah, but you don't want people to be like thinking that you look so different, but it's more rejuvenated and more refreshed, and it's very natural. It doesn't look fake or too overfilled, and I think a lot of women tend to do that, and it does nothing for the skin's integrity. It just fills the space. So I love that it's like rejuvenating. And
I think it does improve the skin. The
fillers?
I thought you were talking about the Easy Gel. Yeah, Easy Gel does improve the skin. Yeah, in my opinion. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. It does look, and that's one of the reasons people are demanding it more and asking about it more, just because it's a natural product and it does give natural looking results, like very natural looking. Again, like you can't. When you look at this, it's improving your own tissue, it's improving your own skin, the collagen. So it's there isn't like, again, fillers can look great if done right in the for the right clients, but definitely it's easier to mess up filler in a way, I guess would be a way to put it. Like it's easier to look overly done with filler than it would be with easy gel. Again, you still have to do it right, obviously. It doesn't mean, and again, you have to choose the right candidate. And that's what I was saying earlier when we talk about like PRP and how PRF is different and how easy gel is like quote unquote better in certain aspects. I always want to remind people that like for certain indications there are still I still do more PRP overall than easy gel, because we still do like for joint injections and for all that stuff, right? PRP I think is a better option. So it's not like this is a better option for everything. Like this isn't a replacement for PRF or a replacement for PRP. It's just another option that works really well in certain area for certain clients and kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think it's a great option for people, like I said, that are looking for something more natural. They don't want to look fake, but they also want to take advantage of like the biostimulant of the growth factor in the face, and then also the amount of growth factor that's released with PRP and how the body absorbs it. Is it different with the PRF, or is it similar where it like absorbs it and then your body can only use so much of what it's able to absorb?
The release is a little bit different for a couple reasons, and that's why again it's not that one is better than the other. It's just it's just kind of knowing like for which indication to use one. But when you're doing something as a PRF and it's kind of like localized in one area, this can affect the release in terms of it being over a longer period of time. So that might be an issue. But also the way it's the plasma gel is heated also plays a role. So that's again why it's important to like heat it to a certain temperature, and then we have to cool it down before we mix it, because we don't want to mix it while it's still too hot, and then that can also possibly break up the platelets. But so there are some differences in that regard as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too technical though with it.
No,
but
I love it. That's what people want to know. They want to know like what's the difference, what's for better, what does each one do?
Exactly, and that's why I was saying like stressing for different area. And I think that might be because I know we're running out of time, so maybe that would be a good topic for the next episode. But we've kind of been talking more about like facial rejuvenation less, so maybe because you can use like regenerative medicine for hair rejuvenation, or like for neck or body rejuvenation. It can be used for sexual function. It can be used for other anti-aging aspects. So if we were talking about like hair rejuvenation, it might be a completely different completely different like it's a completely different topic, but it's also like a completely different methods and process that we're talking about, whether PRP versus PRF. So that makes
sense.
But so maybe next time we'll talk about hair or something.
Talk about it. So thank you for joining us on our podcast talking about Easy Gel Biofiller, and we'll see you for the next one.
Yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you soon.
I tried it.
Maybe we can change the ending.